Okay, since we're going back to the future again with another pandemic, I just want to do another BTS of work that I did. Long story. So as soon as the pandemic hit in March 2020, one of the first gigs I had was working with this theater company, Exquisite Corpse Company, who I love. I've met so many amazing artists through them. We did an iteration of a 24-hour play where, teams were picked to come up with a site-specific, quarantined collaboration piece of art. So here's a little bit of the script, which actually was the last part. I was paired with some movement artists and an actor, and I thought about doing a version of Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. And I started thinking about being home and, kind of wrapped in yourself 24/7 and all that can transpire within that time. And I started thinking about our loss of communication with each other and how I could interpret that in movement. So I started studying some ASL, using this poverty, chastity, and obedience kind of through line throughout the entire motif. But ASL has kind of come into play with me in the past. I'm kind of obsessed with the capabilities of it. Movement research shows itself in my work a lot, especially some elements of voguing and ballroom hand performance. So being able to communicate with your hands when you're in quarantine is something that came to mind. And also, not gonna lie, Pina Bausch, one of my biggest inspirations, who does dance theater, did a really good interpretation of an ASL performance. And I spend some time asking my performers, what their abilities are, asking them questions about how they feel about the piece, and sometimes magic happens. Okay, so this is the last performance I did, fall, School of Contemporary Dance and Thought. Another collaboration in quarantine that happened over the fall. We got together and I wanted to talk about life during quarantine through the lens of animals and nature, and I combined the voguing hand kind of performance with this deconstructed ASL, and I kind of found a pretty good vehicle for it here, I think. So yeah, we're gonna go back in time again to March of 2020. It was my last live performance, another collaboration between composers, choreographers, and poets. You can see the feet in the background. That's kind of a Pina Bausch thing of, having negative space and then something happening behind space. I think I stole that from 3 Cigarettes in the Dark or something, or 2 Cigarettes in the Dark. So we went virtual, and I was already familiar with working with very busy performers who can't always make it to rehearsal because they're artists and they have like 3 jobs. So I do a lot of recording on YouTube and video, and then I'll send this to my artists for them to rehearse at home or on their own time. So working collaboratively, virtually, came a little bit more naturally to me than I would have liked, because it became this saturated space all of a sudden and I wasn't doing something quote unquote unique in my practice. But This is me just recording myself in my apartment. I was thinking about how I was always looking out the window, and I incorporated some ASL into it. And here we have the feet, a continuation of the negative space and what you can't see, and the portrait of the body, as I call it. A lot of my photography research work, I kind of take photos of the body rather than the face and call them portraits. So for me, I kind of just interpreted this bird ASL into the whole meaning of like what I learned during the day. Like we did some research on falcons versus owls. Again, equating them to the raven, which was the inspiration for this piece. And funny story, we did the owl live for the show, but my falcon got COVID. So this was the final dress rehearsal that we had, that actually never saw the day of the light of day. Got that backwards.
My name is Wanderer, since changed my moniker. It means wanderer now, chained to three my name means wanderer, since changed my moniker. It means wanderer now, chained to three my name means wanderer, since changed my moniker. It means wanderer now, chained to three my name means wanderer, since changed my moniker. It means wanderer now, chained to three